Hello again, everybody. Let's continue our adventure with scales. Now, the idea for this video actually was to do the scale of C major, and in the last video I did nothing like C major. I did scales with sharps. But before we get to C major, let's just add one more sharp to our list. If you remember, the order of sharps goes something like this: French cats grumble dreadfully and eat birds. Well, we got as far as French cats grumble dreadfully. French cats grumble dreadfully, and the next one is and that is the scale of B major. Let's look at B major. And it's interesting to note that there's a thing called the circle of fifths, which arranges all the notes of the scale like the hours on a clock. And it's interesting to note that each scale that we've looked at so far, scrap G for a minute, if we go up a fifth, we have to add a sharp. So if we start on our C sharp D box with a scale of D, we already have two sharps. If we go up 1/5 from D to A, we need to add a sharp, and that's G sharp, third one on the list. If we go up another fifth, from A to E, we add another sharp, which we did at the end of the last video. That's 4 sharps. French cats grumbled dreadfully. And if we go up a further fifth from E, we'll arrive at B. So for B, we need 5 sharps. French cats grumble dreadfully and it's an interesting scale on the C sharp D. It's actually, of course, the same fingering that BC players have to use to get the scale of A. And you'll see why A is at once a difficult key on the BC and an interesting key to play on the BC. And if we look at it on the C sharp D in B major. So we need a C sharp, we already have that. We need a G sharp, which we already had in the scale of A. And we need this extra sharp, which is A. How will we find A sharp? Well, by my patent system, if you're looking for an accidental, look for the note above it. And okay, A sharp is on the piano anyway, the same as B flat. So B is up here. So we know that the semitone below that, A sharp, is going to be same bellows direction on the other row, just a tiny bit lower, just next to it. And that, again, if you remember, the leading note is always the semitone. The note before the, when you get to the main note, at the end of the octave, is always a semitone gap from 7 to 8. So let's have a look. And nearly everything can be played on the pull in the scale. Here we go. C, B, C sharp, D sharp, which we already had, E, F sharp on the pull, G sharp push, A sharp pull, B. So the only note we need to push actually is G sharp. Going all the way down. I say the only note you need to push is the G sharp, because I played the F sharp on the pull there, but of course you have the F sharp on the push. So if you were playing in B major on your C sharp D, you'd probably want to use a fair few push F sharps just to improve your bellows management. You've got those first 5 notes all in pull. So that's B major, just out of interest. And because it's so much on the pull, we can get a full right hand chord triad on the pull. B, F sharp, sorry, B, D sharp, F sharp, and B. Okay, so that's what happens when we go up a fifth. We add a sharp every time. Now we could go beyond if you like. We could go from the note of B to the note of F sharp, the scale of F sharp major, but we won't do that. We'll start going backwards now. In the first video, we looked at G, which has 1 sharp fewer, 1 sharp less than D, and lo and behold, G is 1/5 below the note of D. If you've got the note of D, 1/5 below, it's going to be G. So as you go back the other way through the circle of fifths, going down from D. Every time you go down a fifth, you take off one sharp, or you add one flat. So we've already taken off one sharp by going down to G. Let's go down a further fifth, and we should get to C. Yes, we will. Fifth down from G is C. So let's look at C major. Now, C major, we've taken off a sharp, so we have no sharps and no flats in C major. It's all the white notes of the piano, which means that things we can't get on our inside row are C natural and F natural. So the scale is going to be like this: C, D, E, F natural, and again you can get a full triad. C, E, B, C. Let's do that. Play that scale with me. C, and come down. Now in the second octave, you get this rather peculiar thing happening here. C, D, E, and to get the F natural you have to come nearer your chin, and then you have to stretch 2 here. Your C natural, top C natural, C, D, E, F natural, stretch for G, push for A, B, and then C. Play that scale with me. Let's play the 2 octave scale with me. 1, 2, 3, 4. And come down. Sorry, I lost my concentration for a minute there. Played an E flat, which would be in the scale of C minor. So there's our C major. That's no sharps, no flats. So what happens if we go a fifth down from C? If we go a fifth down from C, we get to F actually. So the scale of F major, we're going to take off another sharp, which means actually adding a flat. So the key of F major has one flat. So notes we cannot get on the inside row will be F, of course, and the push, and our one flat is B flat. So apart from that, everything should be available on the inner row. Let's see if we can do that. F, G, A, B flat. Oh no, C natural we need here. And back to F. Again, we've got this odd thing happening as you go up the scale. You have to come back down towards your chin to get the next higher note. F. We can't do. We can probably do a full lower octave. Can with a little bit of twisting around. So F, E, D, C, B flat, A, G, and then F is on the push here. So our arpeggio of F will not all be in one direction. We've got F, A, C. So we can't get a full chord of F on our C sharp D boxes because the note's not all in the same direction. So let's just do one last scale for today, and that'll do, I think, for our overview of common and not quite so common scales, and then we can look at the different modes that arise from each scale or use the same notes as each scale. So the last one I want to do is let's go down a fifth from F, and that will actually take us down to B flat. So in the key of B flat, we need to have 2 flats, and they're going to be B flat and E flat. You remember the little rhyme, French cats grumble dreadfully and eat birds, for the order of sharps? Well, the order of flats is the reverse. You start at the end, birds, eat, and then you get the order of flats. So we need two flats. We need birds, eat, which is B flat and E flat. So here we go. The key of B flat. Let's start it on the middle octave. What are we going to need? We're going to need B flat, we're going to need E flat, which is actually here on the pull. How do we know that? Here's our E, so our E flat is going to be, there. We're going to need B flat, we're going to need C, we're going to need E flat, and we're going to need F, all in a row. Let's see how that works out. B flat, C, D, E flat. Push the same button for F. G, A, B flat. And you'll notice that our theory is preserved because our leading note is a semitone below the root note. And what is a semitone below B flat but A? So let's do that scale again. B flat, C, D, E flat, push for F, G, and if we go down, A, G, F, E flat. Let's go up the scale from the low B flat. Do you want to play that with me? Let's do it together. 1, 2, 3, 4. Start with B flat. 3, 4. Come down. And as far as the chord goes, the arpeggio, what can we get? We've got B flat on the B flat on the pull, D on the push, and we've got F on the push. So we can get some of it on the push, but we can't get the root note. So not much doing with right-hand chords there. So that's a look at our scales. Practice them, and in the next video we'll look at modes and how, for example, if you use the notes from the G scale but you're playing in D, you'll end up with a mode, a very common mode in Irish music called D mixolydian, which is actually some of the very best tunes in Irish music are in the key of D mixolydian. So we'll look at that in the next video. Remember, order of sharps: French cats grumble dreadfully and eat birds. Flats go back the other way. Birds eat and figure out for yourselves. And every time you go up a fifth in the scale, as if it's a circle of fifths, every time you go up a fifth, you're going to add another sharp to your major scale. And every time you go down a fifth, you're going to remove a sharp or add a flat to your major scale. I hope that makes sense. And also remember that the arpeggios of the major arpeggio is composed of the first, the third, and the fifth of the scale, and the seventh tone is always a semitone below the root note, or the eighth note, the eighth degree. All right? Hope this is useful. Thanks.